Ladies and gentlemen, it should say live on Facebook. Wow, look at technology.
Yep.
That
Oh,
is
wow.
something. Yes.
You know what? Let me turn my Facebook off because I'm going to be getting notifications.
Left,
Wow.
right, and left.
It was probably yours. It's probably you tagged me on.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's showing us what it is.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let me turn that off right now.
Yeah, because we live.
There we go. Okay.
We
Click.
live, baby.
All the way live.
I heard Bootsy.
Man,
I believe it, baby.
I was listening to his interview on the plane with
QLS.
yep.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That joint was excellent, man. That was one of my favorites. That one and the Jimmy Jam joint.
Well, the Jimmy Jam 3-parter, and then believe it or not, the Babyface one. Where
I love the Babyface one. And the Ray Parker Jr. one. I love that one too.
I was surprised at how much I enjoyed that one.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Maybe
Like I said, we hit live on Facebook. We just kind of chit-chatting and everything, letting the audience build. Biko, I believe because we have the artists here, we can safely say we have copyright authority to go ahead and play some music.
Oh, 100%.
Okay. All right. Okay.
That's all Zuckerberg. That ain't artist. That's all him.
All right. With that being said, let's get into a little bit of Zoe real quick for the people. And you're listening to the sounds of, this is James Biko, and
playing the sounds of Zoe.
yeah, sounds of Zoe as played through James Biko. And we are on the move. That's what it do. This is Destination Unknown, the new podcast that we started. We kicked it off last week, and our special guest was Eric Roberson. And today we have just a phenomenal artist, musician, athlete, above. We're gonna get into that a little bit too, because you played my favorite sport. You in here repping the D, clearly repping Detroit. I think it's St. Martin de Porres. That's what it is?
That's right. Okay. 96, class of 96.
Hey, I went to Benny, man. Did you know that I went to Benedictine, man? So
I don't think I ever knew that. That's crazy. We had so many Benny stories, man. Football and baseball. Yeah, we had a lot of Benny stories.
Okay, we can get into them too. Ladies and gentlemen, we're with multi-instrumentalist producer Zoe. He's out of Detroit. He's living in Silver Springs, Maryland. He goes by the name of Lorenzo Ferguson, I believe, on his birth certificate, but we all know him as Zoe. And he's been influenced by a wide range of musical genres that were introduced to him at an early age. He is the musical director for the Foreign Exchange, but in addition to that, and equally as important, he's an artist of his own right with several studio albums under his belt, many of which I believe are some of the most underrated and powerful compilations in music, not just soul music, but in music. So with that being said, we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a documentary that he has on Amazon. Ladies and gentlemen, Zoe.
What up, though?
Hey.
What's good?
What up, though?
Along with me, my co-riders, my co-pilots, James Biko, representing St. Louis, Missouri, my hometown, and representing Zoe's hometown. It's one of the top promoters, event producers. I don't even like to call ourselves promoters because that like cheapens what we do. Event producers. My man, Mr. Drake Phifer.
Glad to be here.
What's good? Zoe, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm good, man. I just ate dinner, so I'm full, and that's why I got that coffee because I don't want to catch no itis mess with y'all tonight. So
okay, yeah, no, it won't be no itis going on here. and Drake and I are of different beverages this evening.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's
cheers, gentlemen.
It's no thing to go polar opposite now.
Right. Man, how have you been holding up during COVID? Because it's crazy. You go to your webpage and you see date after date after date after date that says canceled due to COVID-19. How you doing?
At first, like everybody else, like it was rough going for the first couple months, just because you not only had to switch gears, like you had to switch vehicles, to where a lot of us who remain on the road a lot, we had to completely abandon any shows, any opportunities, all of that stuff. We had a nice little summer coming up, and we were getting ready to travel, and a lot of us ain't even been on a plane in 6-7 months. So like it just took a second to kind of refocus, to kind of get out of a huge creative rut, because you're losing 70 to 80% of income, and you're trying to figure out what's next and where this money is going to come from, because it's like we in this house, and bills ain't taking no break from COVID. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I remember they hit me with my rent discount. It was like $25 off. I was like, what is that? Nigga, that ain't even tax.
Right.
That ain't even shipping, bro. Like, so we just had to like just really switch gears. I think a lot of the DJs, like my man Needles, folks was going live, and kind of keeping our spirits up, and just giving us something to look forward to, during the day or at night. And if you were an essential worker, like you had to go in, and luckily for me, like I didn't have to go anywhere. I still really don't. So now I've just kind of flipped my mindset into, just selling merch, which is another, that's another loss that we took from not being on the road, is being able to sell our products and things like that. So now I'm just kind of expanding my merchandise, and, doing it that way. Like, I can try to appease my listeners by bringing out some new music, or rehashing some music, especially the Forefront album, which we didn't get to tour like that. And then, just coming up with different types of merch to kind of feed people with.
We absolutely going to talk about Forefront. But when you talk about the merch and things of that nature, I know, and I know Drake knows, as event producers, sometimes artists can make as much with the merch from a show as the payment for a show, because
100%.
you go, you give it to the audience, and it's a line throughout the building with people ready to drop the 10 or the 15 or the 20 or whatever it is, in appreciation for what they just experienced.
Right.
So that's got to be a big hit.
100%. So, you try to make it so that it's an experience at home as much as you can. So like, even with the Forefront vinyl, I'm like, okay, well now, just like at the shows, when you order, I'll autograph it and I'll personalize it. Just like we were face to face. Some people even order the vinyl. They're like, oh, I knew you was going to sign it, but I didn't know you was going to personalize it. So, it's just a little extra perk, just to kind of, just keep people interested, man. And again, I think as artists, a lot of times we're the ones that are being looked to keep people up. Needles will tell you, like, just as a DJ, like, you kind of the master manipulator with emotions. So it's like, folks are really looking to you, like, okay, what's next? When are you on next? And when can I see you? And that type of thing. So we kind of got to keep it creative, even on that side too, outside of the studio.
Yeah. And we've been rocking with one another collectively, all four of us, in different connecting points or whatever, for so long that both of y'all remember when Biko was Needles, but my man is now James Biko.
Oh, it's Biko. So I'm up here. I'm calling him Cassius Clay out here.
You calling Yassine Most.
Right.
Nah, it's all good though. It's all good. I already said, like, if you knew me as Needles, like, prior, you know what I'm saying, I've never been like, you better never ever call me Needles again.
Yeah, because because it's like when people call me Lorenzo, I'm like, I don't know about that. It's literally like 4 people on earth that call me that. So it's like,
and your mom is one of them, because I watched the documentary.
My mom, my mother's definitely one of my sister. Yep, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I just want to, and going back to the whole merch thing, so, one thing even pre-COVID and even now, I think that has really set you. And I work obviously with a lot of independent artists, indie artists, man, but it's really very few to have what I consider the type of entrepreneurial acumen that like you, Eric, Cy has. I think Avery Sunshine had it, you know, before she got signed to a label. But that hustle is rare, man. You know what I'm saying? And it really does, you know, define the difference between. It sets apart the working artist, the successful working artist, from what I consider the almost successful working artist. You know, there are lots of great artists out there, but there's a business side to this that a lot of people don't really pay attention to. And I think you do a good job of honing in on that. Like, hey, not only are we going to go out here and give a great performance, but we have all these merch ideas. And I love the creativity that goes into them. Like this one, I just wear this because I like that. I like when people come up to me.
Right.
Oh, dude, you know, you read a lot. Yeah, I do, you know.
It's like that shirt is the number one, like it's my number one seller. Like it's a huge conversation starter. It's really, really big among, you know, folks our age who remember actually going to the store and having the physical product in our hand and, you know, popping the CD in or throwing the vinyl on or throwing the tape in and, you know, actually reading along as the joint is playing. Like it's all part of the experience to me. And even now, like when I get something and, you know, just, you know, download it off of iTunes or something like that, like it's, you know, I got to go to like Discogs or something like that so I can have some frame of mind just because I need to know who's playing. I need to know who's playing, who's writing, who's producing, just so, you know, I can then go off in a little rabbit hole on them too. So it's like, you know, new Brandy album comes out. Okay, who produced this? Oh, okay, yeah, that's dude with her. And, you know, and then you just, you know, it kind of just goes nice snowball effect to where, you know, you just start discovering cats and, you know, when they, you know, release an album, it's like, oh yeah, that's dude from Brandy's album and he did this and, you know, so it's all the experience, man. It's all the experience. And, you know, I always tell people performing on stage and stuff like that, that's not the stuff we get paid for. The stuff we get paid for is everything leading into a show and coming out of the show. And coming out of the show, it's all about like customer service, basically. So, you know, we're artists, but we're also, we're our own customer service because now you have instant ratings called social media. And, you know, if folks have a great experience with you, they're going to post about it. They have a terrible experience, they're going to post about it even quicker. So, you know, that bad news travels twice as fast. So, you know, it's all about the experience, man. I feel like if we can come off stage and, you know, make you feel at home, you know, make you feel like, you know, you one of us, then, you know, that would be kind of the worst, the price of admission to me.
Yeah. And keeping true to the game, once again, on your website, one of your tabs are lyrics and liner notes.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get the liner notes and lyrics even from a digital purchase.
And that is exactly why it is. It's like if you download Forefront from iTunes or Amazon Music or wherever, you can go right on the site and read along. You know, you won't be just lost in the dark. So, you know.
Crazy though. You would think that those streaming outlets would have you know, like a section, you know what I'm saying, to where you can enter in that info.
Yeah.
So then when you go to Apple Music or whatever, you know, that it'll be right there. Like it could be right under the playlist. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah, like it don't make any sense to me with everything that we have and, you know, all this just genius.com and, you know, all kinds of stuff that, you know, you're playing it and the lyrics are scrolling with the music. I'm like, we can't have credits too? Like that's
right.
That's lazy, you know what I mean?
I've been looking for that, you know, and what I've done, I hadn't thought of doing. You said that you go to Discogs,
mm-hmm.
But you know, a lot of stuff isn't available, tangible or anything. So I don't know if they do like just digital information or
they do sometimes. But if it's like a brand new release, sometimes it takes some time.
Only thing I've done is I go to Wikipedia and hope for the best, because if they have something on Wikipedia, they'll usually have track list and then production
So Needles, when you go to Wikipedia, you don't, if it's not there, you don't add it yourself?
No, I'm going to find out.
I'm gonna add myself to that brand credits.
Right.
No, but I will, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I might have to do that. Like, if I go and I try and, you know, I don't know, if out of nostalgia, figure out, you know, some like a Bahamadia record or whatever. You know, if they don't have that, I might have to do that, man.
Yeah.
I never thought of that.
Yep.
I definitely got the CD.
Get your factual. Well, you'll get it right. Some cats will just be, Pete Rock did 3 of these joints. No, it wasn't.
It sound like Premier. Yeah, I'll put down Premier.
So it's weird. I'm stuck in my head, and I told everybody before we got live and everything. I said we're not going in a linear fashion. It's wherever the conversation takes us, and I'm stuck between, do we talk about forefront now, or do we just wait a little bit? I think I want to wait a little bit and just tell the people about who is Zoe. So,
Okay.
kind of give the people a sense of who is Zoe, because your first, like, music's your passion, but you also had another passion, and you almost had another career that might not have even allowed you to play music. Talk about that.
Yeah, my original passion was baseball. Just sports in general. Like, I was a ESPN fanatic, all the highlights all the time. You know, when Sports Center used to come on like 5 times in a row, like I was watching it 4 times. You know, I was that guy. But baseball, I started playing when I was 9 years old. Ended up getting drafted to Toronto Blue Jays, and didn't go to the minors, but ended up getting a full scholarship at Western Kentucky University. So I went there from 96 to 2000, graduated. My knees ended up aging probably 3 times as quickly as I did.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, recruitment kind of fell off for me. But pretty much, like, as soon as baseball ended, that's when, like, I got serious about music, or started, you know, gaining, because at that point, like, I had nothing to do. And you know, Harry, you know, like, when you play baseball, it's like, that's your life.
Yeah.
It's like you
Kind of has to be, right?
Exactly. So, you know, I was going to class, I was going to practice, I was doing homework, or, you know, messing around, whatever. And then you do it all over again. Like, that was your day. So when that ended, I was just going to class, and then come 12 or 1 o'clock, I'm like, yo, I don't even know what to do with myself anymore. And, you know, I started bringing my keyboard down. It was actually this keyboard right here. I started bringing my keyboard down to college with me in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And the keyboard already had a sequencer on it. So I started making my own tracks, and, like, I would send them off, and was getting, you know, pretty good feedback. And, you know, the feedback was kind of gassing me. So I was like, shoot, I need to make some more. And then, you know, I had always been obsessed with, again, liner notes and making an album, and, you know, cover art. So, like, I would make my own cover art, have my own little thank yous, and, you know, all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, so I got an album. And it's just, you know, it's just CDR stuff, but it's like, to me, it feels like a full length album. And then it just, you know, again, it just kind of snowballed into to where I'm at now, 20 years later.
You followed the blueprint back then.
Right.
You were visualizing.
Thank you.
Actualizing.
Yeah, very much so.
So you're talking about 96 to 2000. I mean, it's easy for a person who has musical ability in that time frame, especially, to say, oh, okay, well, I hear Timbaland, or I hear Swiss, or I hear any of these other hip hop producers, to say, okay, well, I'm just going to be a beat maker and make these beats or tracks. But how were you able to say, nah, look, I'm more and not to say that they're not musically inclined, but just to say, no, I want a little bit something more. I want to veer off and do something a little
live
bit.
Instruments and
like that. In the beginning, for me, that's kind of what it was. I was like, I want to make beats, and, you know, I'd always listen to DJ Premier, always listen to Pete Rock, always analyze JD. You know, I knew about JD probably in about 95 or 96, just because he was from the crib, and that's what was kind of circulating. And when I would go back home, that's what I would hear about. And you know, I would, like, seriously study these cats. The Roots is another one. I think the Roots kind of influenced me to made it okay to put live instrumentation in your stuff.
Still have
And
kind
so
of hard edge of that hip hop provides, not necessarily having to be hip hop though.
exactly. So like, you know, still having the harder drum foundation. Same with Dilla though. Same with JD. Harder drum foundation, but then having melodies and chords and harmonies, and you know, not being afraid to work with different vocalists instead of, you know, just MCs. Because when I got back home to Michigan, I was like, yo, I'm about to find all the MCs that I love. So like I ended up getting with like met my man. Huh?
Is that the
Yeah,
Gorilla Funk Mob?
but this was even before then. This was like I met my man Nick Speed, who's a producer out of Detroit. Yeah. Nick Speed introduced me to Elzai. Elzai introduced me to T3. I started going to Slum Villages studios and playing on some of their stuff. That's how I got my first music check, was playing on Come Closer on Detroit Deli.
No.
Yeah, like I didn't get credit on the album, but I played on.
Check clear.
That's sort of like Teddy Riley in the show.
All right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yeah, like it was just I think from there, I don't know where the idea came from. Maybe just more or less listening to, just kind of branching out my taste a little bit. Again, Soulquarians, like listening to, you know, D'Angelo stuff and listening to Badu stuff and, you know, Touch of Jazz stuff and, you know, all that. I'm like, oh, they got bridges and changes, and, you know, it makes me feel like the music I grew up with.
Right. That's right.
I did a review on you once, and I always wanted to ask you if I was correct on this, but I had analogized you to a modern day Mizell brothers, because I felt like I didn't know if you were influenced by them or not, but it seemed like you have this signature synth that goes to a lot of your work, sort of like they do, and I was like, I have a feeling that they impacted
very
your
much
sound.
so. Mizell Brothers is in my top 3 favorite producers of all time. And I'll tell you what put me on to the Mizell Brothers is the song A Touch of Jazz on Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince Rock the House.
Oh,
it was running all this Blue Note stuff, and you know, it was all Donald Byrd stuff, all Black Bird stuff, and I was like, yo, what is this? And come to find out, my parents had it. So, you know, I was able to dig and find stuff. And, yeah, and like
breaks, right.
finding the breaks and finding the samples. Like that was addictive to me even back in like 88, 89, just as a child. So,
yeah,
you know, that type of thing, just, you know, it's a stronghold. Like that thing, you can't shake that off ever. Like I still get hyped up if I'm somewhere and I'm, you know, now you can hear samples in the grocery store because we are of that age. So, you know, we be in the grocery store and be like, oh shit, wait a minute, that's you know what I mean? So crazy.
Man, talk about that Touch of Jazz. That takes you back to, remember when you purchased an album, a hip hop album, at that time it was the rapper and a DJ, and the DJ always got that one cut on the album.
Yep. It was always the DJ cut, and then like a couple years after that, everybody had to have like a house cut. Like around 89, 90, like everybody had the house joint, which was hit or miss.
Yeah. I wish that they would have explored it a little bit more. I'm glad it's kind of coming back around with like the K-Tronadas and the, you know.
Yeah, that four to the floor, that is kind of infectious, man.
Yeah. And, well, it's sort of like MCs and even, you know, contemporary singers today. They're kind of a little bit more comfortable rhyming over, you know, a quote unquote house track or whatever. It's like you've always been able to do it. You know what I'm saying? Right. But they definitely sound more comfortable now, and I'm glad to hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Especially like a little bit higher BPMs. Like people are cool with that now.
Right.
It's funny you said rhyming over certain tracks, because one of the things that I was doing while I was listening to some of your music, I was like, how on earth did you figure out that this particular beat was going to allow Fonte to come in and just do what he does and just riff? Yeah, and it's one of those things where hip hop wouldn't have necessarily done that per se, but there's a certain, like, there's this jazz quality, there's this soul quality, and then you got Fonte bringing like this rhythmic.
Vocal.
Yeah, I think at this point that's just basically he and I's rhythm relationship. Just our working relationship has always been kind of just a back and forth in trading files and things like that. And sometimes, like, I mean, we're production partners at this point, and it's been like that for probably 13 years at this point. And so, like, I know what Fonte is going to gravitate toward. So if I send him something, number one, it ain't gonna be no garbage. Number two, like, I know off top, like, if Tay don't call me back in about 10 minutes, he's probably writing, so it's not like a thing where it's like he gets it and it's just like, okay, nah, never mind. No, he's probably working on it. And if he's working on it, he's writing to it to demo it or to keep it. So, a song like If I Can Tell You No, he wrote to it, demoed it, and then, we cut it on Jesse Boykin III. Or like a song like Greater Than the Sun or something, where, he gets quiet for about 3 hours.
Love.
And then next thing you know, we've got a joint. So
Love. I love that song.
Man.
Love that song. And in fact, when I first heard it, I just immediately assumed it was a foreign exchange song. So take me to that relationship. How does that relationship start? How far into your solo career were you when you all kind of link up?
We met in 2005. It was at a Little Brother show in Ann Arbor, Michigan, at the Blind Pig. Little Brother was in town. They were touring the Minstrel Show at the time, and that's the night I think I met everybody. I met Pooh. I met D Brock. He was on with him, and I was just going as a Little Brother fan, and because I knew Elzai would be there doing Hiding Places. So I was like, man, let me just go. I had actually heard that he heard the Little Brother remixes that I did on my remix album Redefinition that came out earlier that year. No distribution. This is just kind of just hand-to-hand shit. It still is. Like, I don't have any distribution on this shit. I got copies in my closet. So I'd heard through the Justice League message board, the lawn, for my folks who know what that is, that he had heard it. So I was like, man, let me just go. I'm getting a show, and let me holler at Tay, see what's what, give him his props, and then I'm out. So the show ends. He comes to the back, and I'm like, yo, man, I'm so blah blah blah, and he was like, oh yeah, man, I know who you are, and like which makes sense because Tay always got his ear to the street. So if it's somebody who's doing some dope shit, like 9 times out of 10 he knows about it. If he doesn't know about it, Carmen knows about it. Like, them two are like, they're always listening out. So he and I ended up exchanging contacts, and that was like September 2005. We started working together in December of 2005 on the Stepping Out remake on the first Justice League. And then after that, like, it was just, we was rolling. Like, it was literally like just 2 cars merging and then just riding side by side just for years.
So it's like Johnny Gill and New Edition coming together? But you know what? To piggyback off of that, though, I was going to ask you, though, really, do you feel like your athletic, your sports background really helped you to come in and be a part of the team in a way that maybe another musician may not have been? You were able to just come in, because it sounds like he's got a strong work ethic with his work.
Yep. And
you had one going on, and you were able to come in and just completely click into the program.
100%. And that's a good analogy too, because I always equate sports with music. Like, they parallel so much just in work ethic and the discipline you have to have as far as just practicing, staying on top of your craft, and just being competitive. Like, we're all, me, Fonte, Nick, like, we're all super competitive. And it's not in a way where it's like damaging. It's just in a way where it's, we keep each other sharp. So it's like, if Tay's doing something, I'm like, oh shit, okay, I need to get. And it's just like with JD and Pete Rock. The story was always like, Dylan never wanted to leave the studio because he knew Pete Rock was in there. And I would say it's not so much now, just because, now we can kind of, we can more or less pick and choose what we want to do, and, we can say no more often. But like, definitely in 08, 09, like it was rapid fire, man. And Muggs was ready. I remember Flight of the Blackbird came off of me being competitive because Nicolay had released City Lights 2, and I was like, City Lights 2 came on, and I'm on Twitter, and I'm just like, I'm feeling useless. So I was like, let me go turn the studio on. Your man is up here burning up this timeline. Let me go do something with myself. And ended up, I was like, man, I'm about to kill this nigga. Like, and Flight of the Blackbird came out, and I sent it to Tay, and he got quiet for like 6 to 8 hours. And then he hit me like 6 in the morning the next day. He was like, yo, check your email. And I heard it. I was riding to work, and I was like, yo, this shit is nuts, man. So like, that's, iron sharpens iron, man. Like it's a for real thing. It's not just a saying around here.
Yeah, Flight of the Blackbird. Oh my God, it's just beautiful. It's just freaking.
And that's one of my favorites to perform live too.
I was gonna ask that a little later, but okay.
When y'all was in St. Louis, all right, and you and I believe it was Psy. I think it was Psy. You was with Psy.
Was this at Lola?
Huh?
Was it at Lola?
Yes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lola.
I killed that. Like I'm sorry to be on the jock, but damn, yo, like, not number one. I didn't even know, and forgive me, Psy, I didn't know that she played.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And like these chords are so, like, they're so sophisticated, and just like, and it's so fast. It's so fast. And y'all was just like, you know what I'm saying? And
nah, she's a monster, man. Like, Psy is totally unfair. She wakes up in key, and then next thing you know, she's killing you on the piano. So it's just like, that's pretty unfair, man. Like,
I'm actually glad you brought that song up. I don't know, y'all can hear it, right?
Bring it up just a little bit. I let the audience hear it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah. To hear this live, ignorant.
So number one, I got like two questions. Did you have that vocalizing in mind, or was that all Fonte?
That was all Tay. Like, I pretty much came to him with an 85-90% finished track.
Yeah. And
then sent it off, and then he just did all the stacks, all the he added to my percussion breakdown with some vocal percussion. Right. Then we ended up grabbing my man Stan Graham to put the trumpet and stuff on it, and we talked about the Mizell Brothers earlier. That is a direct tribute to the Mizell Brothers, which is why it's spelled Blackbird the way it is.
Mm-hmm. Well,
so,
I was wondering, did it have any? This is my second question. I was wondering if it had any. Did it derive from the George Duke track "Yeah We Going"?
No, it didn't. Not at all. And George Duke is one of my, man. That's recipe.
So,
that's one of my favorites.
It feels like here. I mean, I think we good.
Yeah.
And then
over top,
when they come in with the it kind of sounds similar to what Fonte was doing. So maybe I don't know. Maybe he would hear this.
Maybe I need to ask him on that one. I honestly don't know vocally.
Actually, so on that point, so one of my first introductions to Zoe, because it's a young lady who's actually from up here. She doesn't live here anymore, but Carlita Duran and Knights of Egypt.
Yep.
When you listen to that, and then you listen to another one of your songs, I see that same kind of tonation, or I don't know if tonation is the right word, but this cadence, like on the move. Was that kind of like intentional, or did it just happen that way?
It just happened that way. We're on the Move is kind of I remember when I did that track, like I named the instrumental track 1983 because it reminded me of something from that era via Leon Silvers III, who is my favorite producer of all time, period. Like it's him and Dilla, they always like kind of neck and neck. But that was kind of which is why we did the video, which was a shout to the Whispers, because it's like, the Whispers was on Solar. Solar had the house producer, which was Leon Silvers III. So let's encompass all of that. But yeah, that was such a fun song to do, and that was one of my first ones that I wrote on the bass. I wrote that one on the bass first.
Okay, you got about 1 million hits on that on YouTube, by the way.
Oh, word! Shoot, that's word up. I think that's my only million spin joint on Spotify too.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because it's such a fun song. It's just, I mean, the song and the visual complements it so well, because you hear the song, it's just a fun, funky song.
Yeah.
Then you see the visual, and it's just fun the whole way through, and it's like not taking it too seriously and everything. My question is, because you got so many different shots, where was on that video? Where did y'all shoot? And did y'all shoot over multiple days? Because I wonder, like, did y'all have to put on the same suit every day to shoot all this?
And when we do our videos, we do them in one day. We actually, funny story about that one, we shot that one in Raleigh, North Carolina, downtown. It was like a Saturday, like 7:30 in the morning. So it was in December of like, I think 2014, and it was about 30, 35 degrees outside. So we already had the concept of us dancing, but I mean, we was dancing to keep warm, basically. Like we was like, yo, just keep rolling, bro. Like we gonna keep.
It seems like I remember seeing smoke come out of your mouth.
Man, like I remember being sick. I was sick after that for like 2 weeks. But we ended up doing that joint in the morning. We wrapped that joint maybe at around 12 or 1 o'clock, and then we turned around, went inside, and shot the video for Better for Foreign Exchange.
Oh.
So two in a day.
Two bangers. Two
Yep.
like phenomenal hits in a day. By the way, so I'm afraid of flying. I don't like to fly. Just is what it is. But
really?
I like to go places. So,
okay.
At the end of the day, I'm gonna hop my ass on the plane. When I get on the plane, I would realize like I'd be playing some hip hop or something like that, and it would amp me up, and I'm too amped to be flying. I need something to like, it's a ritual now for me to either put on Zoe or the Foreign Exchange, and that's how I fly.
Word up.
Real
I'm happy to ease you, brother, on that plane, because it can be interesting up there sometimes, especially right now.
Oh yeah. I was just on the plane last week to Grand Rapids, going to Idlewild.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Which, by the way, going to the forefront, it's a song on there where and does Phonte do this intentionally as like kind of an homage? But he says he says Idlewild in the song. How does that come about? And for those that don't know, Idlewild, Michigan is up north Michigan,
right?
And it's the inkwell of the Midwest, for lack of a better term.
And what's funny is about that question, I need to ask him that question, and I forgot. Like I remember, when I'm going back in and typing the lyrics out, and he, I was like, yo, man, can you clarify? I was like, did you say Idlewild? Is that what you said? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I meant to ask him, and I forgot. So I don't have a clear take on what he was paying homage to in that joint. But that's the Neither One of Us song with Madison McFerrin.
Madison McFerrin, daughter of
Bobby McFerrin.
Because I read the liner notes.
The legend, the legendary.
Yes, indeed.
And sister of Taylor McFerrin.
Yeah.
Another beast.
So how with your albums, you have a wide range of people, whether it's Joy, whether it's Psy, Arrow, Darius Brockington. You have all these people who, Anthony David, who are part of what you do. Like, how are you able to say, okay, I want X, Y, and Z, and is it hard to get them? Is it like a phone call? Is it a whole lot of back and forth? Or and also when you're writing a song, are you writing it saying, you know what, this is Arrow, this is whatever.
All right. It's a lot of different circumstances. We have our core cats that are on speed dial. Obviously these are the ones who show up on all the albums, like Psy, Arrow, Carmen. A lot of folks that we are not only have working relationships with, but that we are friends with. Like a lot of these folks, if we're in a city and we're in their city, we're hanging out, or that type of thing, or we'll call them because we know that if we're in their city, I can call them really easily to get them to come perform it. And if I'm in their city or if they're in my city and they want me to come perform with them, it's no problem. That type of thing. So it's really a give and take just on relationships. A lot of this has to do with turnaround time, just like any other work relationship. Turnaround time, reliability, who's dope. Someone like Psy, for example, someone like Carmen, for example, we can hand them songs and not worry about what's being written because their pen is already solid. So, someone like Joy, Joy she's a living legend. So, with her, like she and I had a relationship already. And I hit her up and was like, yo, I want you to be on the album. And she was like, cool, just let me know. And with her being a legend, it's like, yo, like, why don't you fly, to Fontaines and then y'all work together. And then, let's see what happens. And, I gave her like just a four to the floor, almost disco feel type of song because, I've heard Joy on a lot of different stuff. I've heard her on, almost like some Betty Davis influenced stuff, some kind of black rock stuff. I've heard her on her own stuff. I've heard her on stuff like Lick. I've heard her on stuff like with Raphael Sadiq. And I'm just like, where can I kind of, fit in and maneuver? I'm just like, yo, like, what happens if, if we put Joy like in the late 70s and see what happens? And, she ends up coming on and just murdering the joint. Like, it almost feels like it's in her wheelhouse type of thing. So, we just kind of, we really kind of pick and choose vocally who fits kind of the mood of the song. For example, like the Playing Your Game remake, I couldn't call Arrow for that because, Arrow's tone is too high. So it's like, we got to call someone who's kind of down here. So we hit up AD, we hit up Anthony David. And I don't know what happened in that session, if he was literally channeling Barry White, but I mean, it fit so well. Now, fun fact about that song, the first person we called on that song was Black Thought.
Huh.
Black Thought Black Thought had agreed to do the joint. But I mean, shit, when you on TV every day and it's like, when are you going to get in the studio? So
I could totally hear him on that though.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
For real. Yeah. And then Anthony came in and just no prisoners on the joint. So I'm glad it worked out the way it worked out.
So am I. Yeah, as anybody who knows me knows. AD is a great friend, one of my best friends in the industry, and just I love his music. Just absolutely love everything that he touches. Like
he's come through for us in that studio, something ridiculous.
Yeah, and his ode to Bill Withers. If y'all don't have that, y'all need that.
Oh man, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a couple of questions. So, well, I got a whole bunch of questions, but I want to go back because this is taking me to where something that like is near and dear to my heart, and I'm wondering, are other people like, oh yeah, I so you were talking about when you first worked with Fonte, you took it, an '80s British pop classic, Was it the Joe Jackson joint, right?
Yep. We did Stepping Out first. It was basically the order. What was the order? Let me see, because
How does that come up?
Well, I was already working on it. To be honest with you, I don't know why I asked him if he could sing the hook. I knew about his singing, of course, on like, the song I remixed, The Way You Do It, on Little Brother's first album. And I don't even know why I asked him to sing it. Cause I mean, Tay is everybody's favorite MC. So, to just be like, yo, man, why don't you sing this hook? And he was like, all right. That was just, that's kind of shit that's just in the cards, man. So, to send something off to someone who you highly respect as an MC, and then they send it back and it's this layered, harmonic, Stepping Out, which is one of my favorite 80s songs.
I love that song.
Yeah,
love that song.
It's really
and it's so obscure
right.
if you're not into that genre.
Yeah. And so he sent it back with these full vocals, and I was just like, yo, like what's going on right now? So that kind of kick-started us talking about
Go there.
Not even the 80s album at that point. We because a lot of times, like, we'd be on the phone, and folks who are close to Tay know that if you get on the phone with Tay, it can be 20 minutes or it can be 4 hours. And on this day, we was on the phone for like 3-4 hours, and we're just talking about 80s music, period. And how a lot of 80s music sounds really good, but some of it is like, it hasn't aged really well, but it's written really well. So we were like, damn, what kind of songs? And we started talking about Toto's Africa, and it was basically on a dare.
Wow.
I had some drums already programmed that ended up being, the drums that we use for Africa. And I was like, yo, man, like, I got some joints that would probably work on the joint right now. And he was like, word? I was like, yeah, man. I was like, I'm down if you down. He was like, I'm down. I was like, all right. So when we got off the phone, I ended up just playing the piano all the way through, just to kind of demo it, just to give him something, to record on. And then a day or so later, he sends me back these vocals that's got this accent. And, again, like, you look at Fonte as this MC, and he's singing in this accent to mimic, Toto's lead singer. And I'm like, yo, this is nuts, yo. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with this, but this is crazy. So I ended up filling out the rest, again, being competitive. So once I, filled out the rest of the music, I was like, let me see what he's going to do with this. So at the end of it, I added a change, like that just changed the song into a whole nother song that has nothing to do with Africa. Like, let's just take this and now let's make it our own. Right. And so I sent it back to him. And so next thing I know, he puts the vocals at the end of it and starts adding these little Marvin Gaye ad libs and the calling, how Marvin used to do call and response type of layering. And I was like, yo, this is kind of crazy. So we took it and we just leaked it on like OK Player, and like the response was nuts. And so from there we was like, man, why don't we do another one? But let's do like the whitest song we can think of. And that's how we did Take On Me, because like, anybody our age knows that, it wasn't always all hip hop all the time. Like,
Right.
Growing up, we had Run DMC, Houdini, Curtis Blow, Fat Boys. That's probably about it that we're hearing on a regular basis. But everybody knows, you know what I mean? So we kind of took it and modernized it, and we ended up leaking that, and the response for that was nuts. So we was like, okay, so now we basically got 3 joints: the Stepping Out, Africa, Take On Me. We might as well do an EP, and that's how that came about. Next thing you know, we took the took the pictures, which I still got the pictures, all the pictures from that photo shoot. Musina came in with like some stuff for us to wear, and we were up in my apartment. My man Jatai Lindsay shot the pictures. We had I had like the Gregory Abbott Jerry curl wig, and Tay had like the Rick James joint. So we was in there looking extra silly, and to this day, like, we literally get asked about a 80s part 2, 90s literally once a week.
Well, I'm gonna ask for this week.
Nope. Nope. And the thing, and
be a monster.
and the thing is that you know, as an artist, you kind of have to like control your own destiny sometimes. For me, the 80s album was the second cover album at that point. I had Just Visiting, then the 80s album, then I did Just Visiting 2, then Just Visiting 3. So that's 4 cover albums. Let me see. Yeah, 4 cover albums. And then, you know, I didn't want to get the reputation of being like the cover dude.
Gotcha.
So, you know, I was like, well, shit. Well, Just Visiting is at a trilogy. That's a nice place to stop. That was 2011. So I've stopped. Like I've done, you know, kind of one-off covers. Like I did When I Think of You with Psy, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. But other than that, I'm just like, man, let's just concentrate on original music. Cause I mean, later on down the line, shit, I want somebody to cover my music so I can get some mechanicals.
Right. The thing of that is, like, for instance, I'm not a fan of remakes unless you do 2 things: make it better and make it your own. And that's what I feel you did with all of those. And in fact, like a lot of the stuff, they may have been remakes to you, but for certain ears, including mine, I'm listening. I'm like, oh, I didn't know that this was. And then the composition of it is so original. You know, so
we had I had somebody go after me on after Just Visiting 3. They sent a fax to us and threatened that good cease and desist. And then, you know, we kind of reached back out to him, was like, yo, you know, we are pretty much introducing you all to our audience. And on top of that, I didn't make a dime off of that album. Like we put out Just Visiting 2 and 3 for free. Those are basically like my mixtapes. So because I didn't and don't do mixtapes, it's like, yo, let's just do this EP. You know, we're collaborating with pretty much the same people as we are on the albums. So, you know, let's just give them something to kind of wet the palate. And then, you know, while y'all digging on that, then we can work on another album. So they ended up easing up off of us and we all good. I got that fax up on the wall right there. I felt like I was official after that.
Hey, can we just for giggles, can we see it?
It's up there. That right there. That's fact.
Hold on, let me see. Hold on. I got. You know what? I got y'all on my. Oh, sweet.
That's when you made it. When you get that cease and desist.
Yeah. Nice humble reminder that folks are listening sometimes.
Look, I used to own a nightclub in St. Louis, and the original name was called the Improv Theater. We was open a good 5 months and opened up the mail, go up the mail.
Somebody came for that title, boy.
The Improv said we can no longer. It was like, well,
I remember that, Harry. When I didn't realize the backstory of that. I remember when you had that place, man.
Yeah. So we changed the name to Suite 250 because that was literally the physical address for Suite 250.
Wow. Okay.
We ceased and desisted.
The improvisational theater.
Right. Yeah. So I want to talk about Skybreak. Well, first of all, Man-Made is before Skybreak, and Man-Made is one of the most phenomenal albums. And I think I said this to you one time when we were together, and this is meant as a compliment to Robert Glasper and not a diss. I was like, Robert Glasper got a Grammy. I was like, dude, this is Grammy worthy. Like Man-Made was like, I was like, somebody got to be checking for this. You know.
Thank you.
Yeah, real talk. And then because it's got, oh my God, it's got On the Move on Man-Made. It's got Count to 5. Gwen, what's Gwen's last name?
Gwen Bunn.
Yes, I love her voice on that. And then it's got that whole. What did you use for the 1, 2, 3, 4? Because it brought back a memory of me as a child and some little toy,
like the little ColecoVision type joint where you just Yep. Because we and it was cool because we were able to we were able to use it there, right?
Yeah, yeah.
We were able to use it there and then use it to count off the actual album. So it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, right into the train. So, you know, we were able to kind of strategically place it in little spots in the album. Like, 40-year-olds love nostalgia, bro. So it's like, you know, if we're able to bring us back to a familiar place, you know, it makes it a little bit, the connection a little bit tighter.
That was just such a fun album too, just to listen to sonically. It's just fun. That's all, like that whole album. Then we go to Skybreak and Lake Erie.
Yep. Now, funny thing, Lake Erie was done during the Man-Made sessions. Like we did that in, I think, 2011 or 12. So it was initially meant for Man-Made, but didn't fit. So we just held on to it and ended up using it to set off Skybreak, which was different for me because I normally start off with like an up-tempo type of song for the albums, and this one was more melancholy. So it was different. It was a different change of pace, but I think it was necessary.
Yeah, because when you hear the Lake Erie, you're like, this is about to be good.
Yeah, because that like Lake Erie catch you on the wrong day, you be.
For sure. Yes. Now, and in the documentary, and so for the people who don't know, there's a documentary on Amazon Prime, and it's making of Skybreak. And on that documentary, you say with Psy, she, once again using your sports analogy, she's your Ricky Henderson. Talk about
Absolutely. That. She's the folks, for all my baseball folks, or all my non-baseball folks, I should say, Ricky Henderson is the greatest leadoff hitter of all time, period. No questions asked. It's like, you know, Richard Pryor being the greatest comedian. So with Psy, normally when I start a project, for some reason, like she always gets the first look. And I think it's just because, you know, our working relationship goes back to maybe like 06, 07. And I know that for sure, 100%, if I send her something, just music, I can literally just send her a piano track like Lake Erie and a piano and click track. And just, I know that when I get it back, it's going to be written extremely well. I know that the vocals are going to be engineered like just ridiculously. And all I really have to do is go into my session, take her vocals and stick them in there. That's it. That's all. I don't have to do nothing. So when you have somebody that works like that, and it's just like, yo, let me just give you a couple of options and see what happens. And then I don't have to worry about it. I can go jump on something else. So that's normally how we work. And shameless plug, she and I are also working on the EP currently.
The two hardest working people in show business. I mean, but y'all be working, man. You inside.
Hey, man.
And Eric too, I got to be, but you inside really put it down, man. I mean, man, y'all got stuff. Y'all got content for days, man.
Word. Thank you, man.
Material for days, man. It's really it's inspiration to me. I know that, you know, a lot of other people feel the same way, you know.
Word. Yeah, I mean, you know, we're always on text, kind of chatting back and forth, like, yo, what you know, where you get your mugs from, or who'd you contact? Like, we're always kind of sharing, you know, little wisdom and little nuggets, every now and then. Like, that's my people's, man. Like, that's, you know, I love Side of Death, man.
Yeah. Man. So, and when we're talking about Skybreak and then the documentary, and I asked this of a local an area. I don't want to call anybody local because at the end of the day, it's that limits people. But there's an area filmmaker here, and he started making his documentary at 18 and released it at 30. And I said, you had to know you were working on greatness to start filming and capturing all this. Same with you. You had to know that something was pretty special about Skybreak to say, you know what, I need to capture this. Talk about that.
That's a good question, actually. I think with that one, up to that point, Skybreak was my most personal body of work, period. Because in the middle of production, my father died. So, you know, I had shut it down for like a month solid. you know, it wasn't that I didn't want to work. Like I couldn't work.
Right.
You know, I wasn't able to, like, it was nothing. Like it hit me particularly hard. And so, you know, I was just like, man, you know, I'm a documentary fanatic. I love documentaries. I love good documentaries. So
Me too, brother. Me too.
yeah, man, because like a lot of folks is putting out a lot of huff shit right now. But yeah, I'm a huge documentary fanatic. And these guys, Digital Cafe at the time, DigiFay is what they're called, the production team out of Chicago that I worked with. I'd worked with them once before on like a live show documentary with Man Made. And so I hit them up again and was just kind of throwing it out there. I was like, yo, like, you know, what would it look like if you guys came out to the East and, you know, got some footage, and, you know, we worked on a documentary for the album, like some behind the scenes stuff. And you know, they took a couple days and got back with me like, yo, we down with it. Let's do it. I was like, word up. And you know, they're another ones that, like, I trust them. I trust their work. I know that Donnie and Eric are like, they're as big of a like, they're huge film guys. Like how we are with music, they are with film. So I know that my art was going to be, it was in great hands. And so I think that, yeah, I just think that at that point I wanted my most personal, my most vulnerable point creatively to be kind of shared with the world, which was totally different to me because I'm really private about stuff. Like, you know, the fact that they had come to my house and we're shooting, and, you know, had the whole studio lit up with, you know, all this equipment and stuff. Like I don't normally do that because shit, I don't want people to know where I live. So, so, you know, I like, you come over, like, you family, bro. Like that's just what it is. But they handled it, man. And then we kind of took it and was putting it in film festival. It turned into a big thing, man. And I'm really grateful and really happy that we were able to tie not only the artists together, but like my career where with just basically everything we're talking about tonight, like from baseball to, you know, my mother, my sister were in it, and, you know, they were talking about my father, and
you know something,
all that together was crazy.
And to me, that, you know what, and Harry Needles, because I am here in the D, I really, you know, am happy that I was really able to get to see that relationship and get to see it every time that you come home, man. I mean, and I see your mother in church sometimes. I mean, you know, we're going to the same church for a while, you know, for a long time. But man, it really just is the love that your family has. I've never seen you do a show here and they not come out in full force.
Yep.
And so, I mean, right. I mean, man, they just come out in full force, and it's like, you know, it really just is a testament. And your father was a physician. I don't know what your mother's profession was, but what I really like about your family is that they did not say, hey, we want you to go down this one career track. They raised you to say, we want you to be happy in doing what you want to do. And this was what you decided to pursue it. And they were 150% behind you with this.
Right. And I remember when I came to them the first time, when I was still living in Michigan, I came to them, I was like, you know, I'm going to pursue music full time. And like, I said it and kind of braced myself, and they was like, we behind you 110%. And I was like, what? Cause I mean, just as an artist, like that's rare. Like,
oh, right. Yeah. That's gold, right?
Yeah. Like half of us can't even get our significant other on the same page.
How long are you going to be doing that? You got 30. You got 6 months.
So you have fires? That's what you do.
Yeah. So like to get their cosign both.
Was there ever any pressure on you as a child to follow in your dad's footsteps? Like, were people getting in your ear like, hey, you need to be a doctor? You need
there was in the beginning, but like that's just I'm too left brain, bro. Like I be drawing designs on them and shit. So like
yeah, I don't know. I'm a cartoonist, man. Like before anything, I draw. Like I've drawn since I was like 2, and I drew
fires, bro. Good gracious.
Right. I drew on everything. Like all the notes that I took in school, I still got them notebooks, man.
So
They are littered with doodles. Like I feel you on that one, bro.
you
Well,
got
cartoon.
archive needles.
Yeah, actually I do. I do.
Word.
Man. I got so much, man. Look, I'm in the basement right now. If I would have turned, if I turn this camera, it would be like, yeah, you don't want to see it, man. It's the city dump of
all the sketchbooks.
for real. But I want to ask you as far as like the baseball that you were into, like all the while you were pursuing that, were you musical? I mean, like had you been musical throughout your childhood, and
Yes.
when did you start playing?
I started playing at about 5 or 6 with lessons, with piano lessons, which I hated, man. When you're that young and you got all that energy, and that's back in the day when we would come back home from school and take our school clothes off, put our play clothes on, and go right back outside.
Right.
And we playing football and tag in the streets and hide and seek and all this kind of stuff. And then the worst thing of the day would be moms to step out on the porch and be like, Lorenzo, you got to come in and practice. You got to do your arpeggios and your scales. And I'm just like, shit, man, we was up here, we killing these dudes out here. So,
you was basically bleak.
Yeah,
no better.
exactly.
Gotcha.
So much props to my mother for honing me in.
Yeah.
Even before the street lights came on, so that I can get in there and practice.
It's crazy. That story is shared by Alicia Keys. Like Alicia Keys has said, like, I grew up hating playing the piano. I wanted to quit so many times, and like my mama went.
I think it helped too that my parents were very musical. Like my mother played piano, my father played guitar. They had the vinyl collection of life to me as a kid, and I think the difference with me was, they didn't mind me going in their vinyl. Like they didn't mind me as long as I wasn't scratching it up, or as they say, scratching like DST on Rocket or something like that, thinking I'm a DJ.
Right.
They were cool with it. So like if you look at the vinyl collection that I have now that I've inherited from them, like a lot of the stuff will have like crayon marks on the album art and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, like they were really, really open to me just being a fan of music. So I give them all the credit for me being the music fan that I am.
Speaking of Rocket, talking about you're not doing no more covers. Oh man, I'm just saying. I mean, like I ain't never heard of a Rocket remix.
I'm not touching Rocket. I'm not touching that song. That song is a space and a.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
it is.
That's almost like Planet Rock, like trying to redo Planet Rock or something like that.
Yeah.
Planet Rock is just a bubble in itself, and I'm not touching
it. Bro. I'm just saying, if anybody could do it, I think you could definitely put some.
I wouldn't be mad at implementing it live though. I would do something with it live.
Okay, I'm gonna hold you to that. So on Skybreak, you mentioned that your father had passed during that, and then you did the musical ode for Pops that's on Skybreak.
Yep.
And it's an instrumental, and then on Forefront you have For Mom.
Yep.
And it's once again instrumental. I think the only instrumental on each, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Did you do that saying that these don't even need lyrics? This is just me talking through the music.
100%. Like For Pops was definitely that. That was a rough song to create. And I say that the synth lead is like that's me having a conversation with my father in that song. And For Moms, same thing. Like I was kind of going back and forth between doing For Moms or For Grandmas because my grandmother had passed during that time for Forefront. But I ended up doing For Moms. But then at the end of it, I had my daughter come on and talk about her grandmother, talk about my mother. So I figured if I do For Moms and have my daughter come in and talk about her grandmother, it kind of covers both, moms and grandma. So you know, it's kind of a 2-for-1 thing. Plus, that was kind of her debut on my album too. She had her little speaking voice on it.
She get writing credits.
Right, exactly. Which she was hype off of. When I showed her the joint in the vinyl, she was hyped up.
Dope. We haven't even gotten into you scoring an animated series. So quickly, just talk on that. How does all that come about and everything? Black Dynamite.
I was already a fan of Black Dynamite, the movie. I remember the first time I saw it was with Fonte and Carlita right before we did Say How You Feel, actually. Funny enough. But then one of my boys, Fatin Horton, who was also a music producer and a writer and scorer himself, he hit me up. This was early. This was like maybe 2010 or 11, and was like, "Yo, man, I got this opportunity. Just want to know if you had enough time to be able to do it." And I was like, "Hell yeah!" Because I mean, eventually, what I want to do is make scoring and all that type of stuff top tier. Like that's my number one. Because I mean, with that, you don't have to tour, you don't have to leave the house as much. You know, because I just turned 42, man. So I mean, touring is not as glamorous as everybody thinks it is. You know, it's not as appealing as it used to be for me as it was, you know, 10, 12 years ago. You know, my knees hurt and I need more sleep and all kinds of shit like that. So, you know, scoring and that type of thing, like that's my dream. That's my goal. So like, if I'm doing music for Black Dynamite season 2, like I've hit a goal. You know, just going right. Yeah. Going up to, you know, what we're doing for Sherman Showcase now, which is interesting because I mean we're literally about to start doing some music for season 2 of Sherman Showcase, which, you know, that's another one, like, you know, the Drop It Low for Jesus and all that kind of stuff. Like I didn't know that was gonna go.
Wait, dude, let me just say I'm like one of the biggest fans.
Word.
I love that show. I love that show.
Man, and that's what's dope, man. It's like, you know, we're doing music for shows that we love. Like you know, if I wasn't doing the music for it, I'd still be watching it.
Right. That the and of course to know that you know you guys are behind the music, man. It's like, come on, man. It's
Yeah, and that's the fun part. Like the Drop It Low joint, that joint ended up going viral because, you know, I mean, the funny thing about those songs is they're real songs. So
yeah,
you know, Muzz was getting in their Christian feelings, and you know, we I'm just like, yo, man, y'all don't understand. But I'm not saying that. I'm just like, yo, y'all have at it, man. And people was texting me like, yo, man, you seen this? I'm like, yeah, nigga, I saw that like 5 months ago when I did it. So you know, just things like that. Again, just another conversation piece, and you know, music doing what it does is provoking emotions, man.
Biko, pump that up if you don't mind.
yeah. Fonte getting his Travis Scott on.
Yes. When he do it.
I'll be at the pearly gates for show. I'll be in the number when the trumpet starts to blow. But tonight I gotta drop it low. Drop it low for Jesus.
Man, that joint took me all of 7 minutes to do.
The best ones do, man. No, but you know, when I was doing my radio show, we definitely popped that off.
Yes.
Like it was nothing.
After we
saw it, over. It was a wrap, son.
Word up, man.
And shout out to Authentic. Yeah, one of the best radio shows.
Yes, indeed.
Ever.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah,
appreciate that,
absolutely. As a KDHX alum, props.
One time for Cleo Jones. Yeah.
Yeah. Good people, great people.
Yeah, man, we have been all over the world in a day. Let the people know what, like right now, you got the EP with Cy. What else do you have going on right now?
EP with Cy Smith, EP with my brother, another Detroiter by way of Chicago, both my man Tall Black Guy, he and I have an EP that we're wrapping up right now. That's one thing about this pandemic. Like it's kind of taking artists' inspiration over here a little bit. So now it's kind of getting back on track, and we're starting to put the finishing touches on a lot of different stuff. So if not this year, then definitely next year, those 2 EPs will be coming. And like I said, me and Fonte are back, getting ready to start working on Sherman Showcase Season 2, the music for it.
Okay.
All of that is great to hear.
Yeah.
Word.
So all that is great to hear. This is where I have a little trepidation. So Fonte drops his solo, which is bananas.
Mm-hmm.
Then Lil Brother,
mm-hmm.
which is again bananas. And as a fan of FE, I'm like, well, are we getting another FE? Because everybody's busy, everybody's doing their own thing and
right.
killing it by doing their own thing. So, right. Is there talk of some more FE?
You got to ask FE.
Guess that'll be episode 3.
Right.
Oh wait, that's kind of nebulous. That's like FE. Like who is?
You gotta ask FE. You gotta ask Taylor Nick.
Okay. Okay.
Yep, I don't pull no strings on that one.
Okay. Well,
get on that, Harry.
As a fan, well, last week I mentioned it last week, and I can mention it this week. Especially considering we have one of the people who was there. I gotta get Zoe and be like, hey, you remember the promoter from Minnesota? He cool people, man. Go talk to him. He didn't mean it about the encore.
Oh shit, I remember that.
Bottom line, we had a phenomenal. It was like packed show for Foreign Exchange a few years ago, and they put on a show, which is what happens when you go to an FE show. And I was so caught up as a fan. I'm like, look, I need some more. Now keep in mind, all of them like limping off the stage because they didn't just worked it, sweat dripping and everything. I'm like, we want an encore.
Because technically we did an encore. We just stayed on stage and did a couple extra songs and then
left.
And it came off.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't frame it as an encore.
Uh-huh.
Fonte said, hey, man, we ain't say nothing about no damn encore. I just need you to know that.
Mm-hmm.
But all in all, I mean, like I said, it was you get what you get more, the price of admission and more when you go to one of those shows. And the same when it's you and Carmen. I mean, it's stripped down from the FE, but it's still that raw energy, beautiful, organic live music. And we've had the opportunity to have you up here with you and Carmen a couple of times, and each time it was magical.
Yeah, man. I mean, we all grown, and we know a lot of us, we got to budget our money, and we got to, if you spending your money to come see us, then we gonna make it worth it. Absolutely.
You guys as fans, man, is just phenomenal, man. Like, man, like, and as DJs, we feel like that's the golden ticket when we get picked to open for, if Zoe's coming to town, FE, Fonte, like that show. We know that show is gonna have the fans and the just the crowd that we want, like certain DJs anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like that.
The music love.
Yeah. And we can play with them. You know what I'm saying? Like it's so,
And we appreciate that because we hear y'all when we backstage or when we off in the green room, and we fans too. So we checking y'all out. Yeah,
let it be known that we hope you do.
Yep, 100%. That's why we was up in there New Year's Eve a couple years ago. I remember not even New Year's Eve, but when I was there doing the screening and the workshop and all that stuff, and it come up to the spot, and it was funny because like I go on my Twitter and they was like, yo, Zo35 is out here dancing with the rest of us. And I was like, yeah, man, like,
Yeah.
we all lovers of music, man. Music make you feel good. You gotta hit your step real quick.
That's always that's just magic, man. For
Yeah.
real. Like, I got you. I one of the Afro Sexy Cools, just promo, just general promos, man. Like I you know, cause y'all was out there among everybody, because that's like Eric Roberson said, like, you music fan first. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like, I mean, come on, y'all not the artist that's posted up in the green room. You know what I'm saying? I can't around.
Oh man, like. Yeah, I feel like if we not having fun, how can we expect y'all to have fun? So we gonna splurge, man. We gonna have some fun, and we gonna make the best of the night.
All right.
We appreciate it, man, for real.
Absolutely.
Real quick, give them the website where they can go purchase the product, get that vinyl that you've been talking about. Let the people know where they can find it.
For sure, everything is at Zo35. It's ZO, the number 3 HREE, the number 5 IVE. That's .com. That's at Zo35 on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything. Zo35. So come holler at me if you can make a comment. Like I would normally respond back. Like I don't have any problems responding back to everybody as long as that shit ain't out of pocket. But and if you order something, like I ship really quickly too. So I love that part of the business, that customer service part.
Drake, parting words.
Oh,
You know what?
Go ahead.
Oh no, you know what? I thought you said Drake. I said me. Okay, this is Zo's show, but no, I'm glad to just be here as a side cart runner today, and just have as I like to be, looking off to the stage. So Zo, it's great to be here, man, and just to be able to experience this with you and Harry on your I guess this is the second maiden voyage.
Yes.
Of your podcast.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. We appreciate you being here.
Absolutely, man. Good to see y'all brothers, man. I'm glad that everybody's holding up well during this pandemic, man.
As well as we can be. I mean, that's just real talk. I mean, we here and we having fun, and that's what a lot of this is about, is just to be able to bring a little bit of joy into some people's worlds when we're going through absolute hell and terror on the outside. So that's what this conversation is about. That's what music's about, for sure.
I'll tell you what, I'm a follow suit with you and Drake, and I'm gonna pour me up something nice as soon as I hang up, and I'm so I can get my baby girl ready for school tomorrow.
All right. Biko, 2 down, man. Thank you for being here with me. You got anything going on? You got any live spins or anything of that nature?
Nope. I mean,
that sounds like the ODB when he was like, "Yo, what you doing anything for the kids?" Nope.
It's funny. I got the new baby, man. It's hard to schedule stuff.
Man.
I want to. I think the last thing I did was the MJ tribute, and so for his birthday. So I mean, I might pop up, whenever. People know the socials. Just hit that up, and you never know. I might.
He just turned 1.
He's 9 months tomorrow.
Yeah, brother.
9 months tomorrow.
Remember them days, my brother.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Yes.
Congrats,
Living them.
It's a beautiful thing. And by the way, because we have Zo on here and we got Biko on here, if you want to hear like absolute magic, Biko has it's a mashup, I guess is the best way to put it, of Biggie and Foreign Exchange, and it's just phenomenal. It's
Notorious Exchange, yeah.
Word up. Okay.
Yeah.
Word up.
Yeah.
If you get a chance, check that out.
I still run that Lucchini joint, dog. Good gracious.
What?
Woo!
That's a monster.
Let's see them goosebumps.
Shoot, that one probably is 1 million, 2 million on YouTube.
That joke was crazy, man. That joke was
know
crazy.
what? They blocked the video, so
No.
they kind of
I knew
like
you were about to say that.
they blocked. Yeah, YouTube is some bitches, but
Yeah. Yep.
honestly, you know what? it's not even YouTube. It's them record labels
Mhm.
that's kind of like the people that came for you.
Yeah.
And they don't understand. It's like, dude, number one, I'm not getting any money off of it. I'm not trying to, do some scammy stuff.
Yeah, I guarantee, like, if you ask any artist, do you mind a DJ doing blah blah blah? Unless it's some real fuck shit, like, no, of course, include us in your sets, and yeah, like that's.
Dude, Camp Low loved it. They was in town and it was like, we love that shit. We performed.
They put it on their website.
That's dope. That's dope.
You know,
Them niggas love that shit, and so it's like, but
like they recorded to it. That's.
yeah. So anyway, like I said, we've been in 90 minutes, and we appreciate all the ears and eyes that have been on here. This is Destination Unknown. It is the second installment of the podcast, and we are looking forward to hearing from you, the listeners and viewers, and then also hearing from some more of these great, great, great people, whether it's in the world of music, sports, film, politics, whatever it is. The destination is truly unknown. Thank you, brothers, for joining me for this one, and everyone be well.
For sure, man.
All right, now. Peace out.